I welcome the opportunity to address the House on student nurses and midwives. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all nurses and midwives and indeed all healthcare workers for their dedication and commitment as we continue to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. I'd like to begin by noting that nursing and midwifery have been graduate professions in Ireland since 2004. I think it's important to focus on the benefits of our undergraduate nursing and midwifery programme, which, in my opinion, is second to none. It's a 4-year degree-level programme run over 4 academic years, offering the full student experience. Unlike the UK and indeed other international graduate degree programmes, it includes an internship period with a salary for the final 36 weeks. The programme supports the optimal learning environment where students actively take part in patient care while building competence throughout each stage of training. Student placements in our hospitals are a vital part of nursing and midwifery education. They enable students to develop the practical knowledge, clinical skills and professional behaviours required to attain competence to qualify and be eligible to join the professional register. As students rather than employees, clinical student placements ensure learning takes place on the front line in a supervised and protected environment. The student nurses and midwives practice experience is gained under the supervision of a registered nurse or midwife. The move to the graduate programme has created exciting and attractive career opportunities for nurses and midwives. Graduate training has enabled extended practices and provides the necessary sustained change to operate in advanced and specialist practice roles. The evidence shows that those opportunities have been seized in the intervening years, and this is very much a tribute to all of those involved. I'm sure that every member of this House will agree that Irish nurses and midwives are internationally sought after graduates, and this is a testament to the very high standards of the graduate education programme. I've engaged directly with group directors of nursing and midwifery in the HSC, and I was heartened to see just how important student education is to the group directors and how connected they are to the placement sites. Every site has a joint working group between the higher education institution involved and the placement sites. There is student representation on these groups. This allows for feedback so that local issues can be resolved speedily and efficiently. It also allows for feedback up to the level of group directors if necessary. Students also have access to their mentors, clinical placement coordinators and HEI personal tutor support throughout the placements. In addition, since the pandemic began, there has been a national clinical placement oversight group formed to monitor the safe continuation of clinical placements during the COVID-19 pandemic. The remit of this group is also to develop solutions to minimise the impact of any deferrals, delays or suspensions on students' academic progress. There's no doubt the training for healthcare students during a pandemic is challenging. Recognising these challenges, I secured additional supports and protections for student nurses and midwives. This includes specific access to pandemic unemployment payments and additional occupational health supports equal to employees while on clinical placement. Student nurses and midwives also have access to appropriate training and occupational health support in the sites they are learning in. I was really very happy to see our student nurses and midwives being vaccinated this week. They are, of course, included in the priority group. To assist student nurses and midwives while on clinical placement, I appointed Professor Tom Collins to carry out an independent review of clinical placement allowances, and I received his report on the 31st of December of last year. The key recommendation in this report is to implement a pandemic placement grant of €100 per week for each supernumerary placement week during the pandemic. I've accepted the recommendations and I'm very keen to progress this additional support. I would also like to see it backdated to the beginning of the academic year, which is last September. My department and I are closely monitoring the current COVID-19 situation nationally, including the context of its impact on student nurses and midwives. The oversight group, with representatives from my department, the higher education institutes, the NMBI and HSC, is currently meeting weekly. Student representation is included as an important source of feedback on the experience of clinical placements in the current situation. The primary focus is to ensure the education of students is safe and protected to support progression. Following a request from the HSE on the 15th of January to release senior qualified staff to provide direct patient care in the current COVID-19 surge, supernumerary clinical placements for student nurses and midwives were suspended for first, second and third years for at least 2 weeks from Monday the 18th of January. The request was directly related to the increasing demand on care and critical care and the requirement at this time to maximise the number of qualified staff available to assist. My department is now working together with the HSE, the Higher Education Institutes, the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Ireland and clinical partners to ensure that students will not be disadvantaged in terms of completing their educational programmes. I want to protect their status as students and protect their graduate programme, which has delivered so many benefits. This week, we have shown through the necessary decision to suspend placements that when the support structures are not in place, we will not allow placements to continue in order to protect the educational aspect of those placements. In conclusion, I want to be clear that I do not underestimate the difficulty that student nurses and midwives have experienced in the past 10 months. It has been a difficult time, no question. My department and I, in conjunction with the HSE, the Higher Education Institutes, the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Ireland and clinical partners, will continue to focus on keeping our students safe and ensuring that their academic progress is not duly impeded. Thank you.